Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of the Spillin It Pod. My name is Ben. Next to me, confused at the premise, is Jesse. And we're just here to talk some ball. We've got a lot of fun games, actually. It's a jam-packed episode this time. Peek behind the curtain here as I look at my hair, which I probably should have combed before this podcast.
That's why I wear the hat.
I usually wear a hat, and I just sat down without a hat. I'll have a hat next week for our next week's episode. But so peek behind the
Just
curtain
pull the
here.
one off the tree behind you.
I could steal the tree topper, but you know, that one has got all sorts of like fake snow on it, and then I'm just gonna itch like crazy. So
Anyway, sorry, I've interrupted you twice now. Go
no,
ahead.
it's okay. That's how this podcast goes. Our listeners know. Peek behind the curtain. Every week that we do this, either Jesse or myself in our notes outline will put we have to hurry up on some of these picks. And then we talk about it pre-show and we're like, this is what we're going to do. Like, we're going to cut it down. And then we never do. And I'm editing the podcast and I'm like, Jesse, it's an hour and 35 minutes, which again, doesn't really bother me because I like talking ball with you. But this week we're really, I think this is the week. I think we've got to
This
take
is the
that.
week. This is our New Year's resolution.
And part of how we're going to do that is because Jesse came up with a lot of good ideas of stuff for us to talk about. And then I came in with a closing segment. But without any further explanation, Jesse, I feel like we can just get right into this. You brought something to the top of the outline that I want you to kind of outline for our
All right.
listeners, and then we'll just dig right in.
Yeah, so we got a new segment. It's going to be called Should It Stay or Should It Go? And if we had any amount of budget at all, this is where we'd be playing the song by The Clash. But unfortunately, we do not have that. So we're going to have to redact all of what I just said. But anyway, pretty simple. It's very similar to a buy or sell, but it's something that exists in sports that should it stay? Should it go? So we got a list of about five of these things, and we're just going to try to hit these in
We're
a
good.
lightning round here. So the first one that I have here is the College Football Playoff Committee. Should it stay or should it go? I'll share my opinion first on this one. I I know people are upset with how the selection went this year, and they've been upset about different picks over time. My thing is, I'm not sure how else this would happen. That's my only concern is what would replace it, and sometimes what replaces it ends up being worse. I think it should stay with the caveat that it's going to have some reform. I think some more transparency behind the discussions that are happening, I think would help a lot. And I think that would help the fans be able to swallow whatever pill is going to be there. No matter what, there's going to be quality football teams that are left out of the playoff. You can't take everybody, right? But for this one, I think it should stay with significant reform, more transparency.
Yeah, I agree with you actually. I think it should stay. Everybody hated the BCS, right? Until we
Yeah,
moved to the playoff, and then people were like, "Oh, we should do the BCS." And then everybody wanted an expanded playoff, and then they were like, "Four maybe was right." I did not want an expanded playoff. I thought anything more than 8 was obscene. I
yeah,
hate that we're gonna have 16. It's just gonna happen. Make your peace with it.
yep.
I think it should stay with the caveat of some reform. And my reform, honestly, I think 99% of the problems would be fixed if you just didn't have weekly results shows,
I
like
agree.
weekly
Yeah, I
ranking.
would agree.
Because clearly the committee, the main beef obviously is the Notre Dame Miami controversy, which I am a big Notre Dame guy. I think Notre Dame is one of the 12 best teams in the country. I also think they lost head to head to the team that got in above them. I think that's pretty cut and dry, even though I
Yeah,
think they're probably better than Miami at this point because that game was a
it was
long
a
time
long
ago.
time ago. Yeah,
But at the same time, like if you don't win the games, especially against the teams you're competing against, like tough shit. But
yeah,
I think the committee clearly had decided that with the same or like on even footing, Miami would go above Notre Dame. But the problem was when the rankings started, Miami had just lost their 2 games, so they were down
hmm,
at 18. And then all season long, Notre Dame is like, we're good. We just keep winning games, especially blowing these teams out. We're in the playoff. Like we control our own destiny. And then all of a sudden, BYU loses in the conference championship. The committee is like, well, that put Notre Dame and Miami next to each other. And then Miami is above Notre Dame because of the head to head. And you get
yep,
this fracas. If Notre Dame didn't know where it was all season, and then it was Miami got in and they're like, oh, yeah, they did beat us, then they'd be playing in a bowl game. I think it's that
right.
clear. I think, I know it's in the contract that they have to have these weekly shows. Just get rid of them. Who
Just get rid
cares?
of them.
And then the
Yeah,
committee at the end of the season can just consider teams based on their full resume
exactly.
instead of, well, gosh, like, I don't know, like 4 weeks ago, we thought this team was 18th, but they've beaten up on some bad ACC teams and now they're higher. Like, just get rid of that. So I think it should stay. I think that I don't know. People could make these decisions, and there's always going to be some sort of discrepancy against it. But I think that a lot of the problems would be alleviated if we just found out once how they thought of these teams.
Yeah, exactly. And college football is one of those things that it's just so hard to gauge anyway, because conferences are going to be changing as far as quality of talent and quality of competition over the years. A few years ago, the ACC was a lot better than it is right now. The ACC is definitely probably fourth out of the Power Five right now. You could argue maybe even
Easily.
fifth. And there's a significant gap between the top three conferences. I mean, and especially even the top two conferences. It's Big Ten and SEC right now.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So moving on to our next one, we have what is really, I think, drawn the ire of a lot of folks, especially on Twitter, is going to be the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament. And I'm interested to see what you have to say about this one. Personally, as somebody who watches a lot of ball, somebody who actually sits, I have it on, I have the full league NBA pass, and I just like watching basketball in general. These games do feel a little heavier, especially the closer that they get to the final for the NBA Cup. There's a little bit of money incentive for the guys. I say a little, but it's $1 million or something for them.
I
But
think it's like 400,000 or
yeah,
something
it's
in that
it's a
range.
good chunk of change. For me, I actually want the NBA Cup to stay. I think it brings a little flair to those early season matchups that a lot of times I think we'd see guys sit out. Do I think it's perfect? No, absolutely not. Do I think the team who wins the NBA Cup is the one that's destined to win the entire thing? No, but it gives us some different competition, a different look. And these guys are lying if they didn't say that they cared about it. You watch that game against the Thunder and the Spurs, and you tell me they were not hyped up about it. That kind of stuff matters to me. And I know I'm biased because the first time that they had it, the Pacers made a run all the way to the finals for it. But to me, as a fan, engaging with my team that early in the season kept me going for the rest of the year. Because going into that year, we didn't really know what the Pacers were going to be. We were hopeful. We were hopeful they were going to make a jump, but that was the first time they were like, hey, we're actually playing in some meaningful basketball games now. This is going to make me pay more attention. So to me, I think the NBA Cup should stay.
I don't really have a strong answer here. I'm fine with the NBA Cup. I just don't care, and I don't think I'll ever care. It's like awesome. I was reading about this today, actually. It was an article. I forget which team they were talking to, but they were talking about how every locker room has a guy, on a two-way contract or a minimum deal or somebody that's not making a lot of money, a rookie, where that's a significant amount of money. I mean, Giannis
Yeah,
Antetokounmpo, he doesn't give a shit about
yeah,
$400,000. But somebody on the bottom of the bench who knows that their career probably isn't going to last forever, that is a huge deal. So I
huge
don't have
buy.
a problem with it. I just don't. I've never been able to invest in it. And I just don't care. I think part of it is because if you're gonna keep it, stop with these stupid ass courts. They look
Yeah,
atrocious in the
the
most
courts are
part.
terrible.
It's goofy. So I would, if you get rid of the courts and also take the final stretch out of Vegas, I'm very
Yes.
like, we don't need to be doing everything in Vegas, especially as this league is actively every other day basically having a gambling scandal. Maybe we could move these games out of Vegas. Like the higher seed gets to host or something like that. Make it a
It'd be
reward for the
fun. Yeah,
fans.
it'd be fun.
Instead, you're making this fake competition, which is fine for fans to get invested in, but then to actually enjoy the finals or the semifinals, which you made a great point, Jesse. The Pacers, the year that they've made that run, that was not last year, right? They did not,
No,
they weren't going all the way to the NBA finals. But
no.
teams that aren't going to win the championship, but still might, get hot for the NBA Cup and make a
Yeah,
run, reward the fans. Don't make them go all the way to the desert to stay at the Harrah's Palace to watch their team in a soulless ballroom. Like, what are we
yeah,
doing here?
yeah.
So I'm fine with it. I don't think I'm ever really going to care about it, but I'm not against the concept.
All right,
You
our third
say.
one here. This is going to be an interesting one, and this one's going to be the trade deadline. And just in any professional sport, the trade deadline for the NFL, it's traditionally been around week 6. For baseball, it's been towards the end of July. A lot of really interesting things happen around the trade deadline. Should the trade deadline stay or should it go? I'll let you start on this one.
Yeah, I'm pro trade deadline. I think there needs to be some sort of parameters. I don't want to see like week 17, the Tennessee Titans have, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's injured now and has not been very good. But like let's say Calvin Ridley was healthy and playing really well this year. I don't need to see the Packers trading for Calvin Ridley in week 17 because Christian Watson is hurt. I think there need to be guardrails around that. I like where baseball has theirs. I like where the NBA has theirs. I would move the NFL back a
Mhm.
week or two. I think in 6 weeks you don't really know what your football team is. You don't know what kind of team you've got. I think week 8 or 9, especially as we've kind of drawn this season out to 18 weeks, I think would be fine. But I'm pro trade deadline. I think that you can't let teams just sell off parts in like the final days of the season. Not necessarily that that would be super successful or crazy prevalent, but I think it adds a sense of urgency and excitement to kind of the early season of like you have a team that didn't expect to be good and now thinks they're one piece away. Like I think that's exciting for fans and it's good for the game. So I'm pro trade deadlines.
I would agree with that too, and I think it ends up keeping teams from some form of collusion towards the end of the season, right?
Exactly.
Especially for guys who are going to be, restricted free agents or anything like that. It just kind of changes the sanctity of that portion of the game. And I think the strategy around trade deadlines definitely gives it a different flavor for each of the sports. I would agree with you wholeheartedly on the football one, moving that one back to maybe even week 10 to 12 in that range, because at that point, you know who you are, right?
Hmm.
And the Colts season would be very different, and the outlook moving forward would be very different for the Colts if they still had their first round picks. I
Yeah.
like Sauce. I think Sauce will be a good player for the Colts in the long run, but they don't make that decision if the trade deadline is moved back a couple weeks because they start to see cracks in what Daniel Jones is doing, plus the injury that happens to him just
Yeah.
the
It,
next week.
it cracks in his performance and his leg.
Right. So it's one of those things that I do think that one in particular should be moved back. All right, number four, we have uniform rules, and this particularly to me goes to the NFL, especially when it comes to custom cleats and just the weird rules that they have around everything's got to look exactly the same.
Hmm.
For this one, stay or go. For this one, I'm saying go because I think it's utterly ridiculous how we have this whole month that they have the NFL players and they're showing off their warm-up cleats and all these things. And they're like, oh, they're playing with these for this reason. They're playing for this cause. And then they can't wear them in the games. That doesn't make any sense to me, right? And they show it all the time where these guys come out in these blinged out cleats and they look awesome. All right. If everything else looks the same, I don't care. And I think that's where basketball has really excelled is that you can wear your shoe. You can wear whatever shoe you want while you're playing basketball as long as it's a safe shoe, right? And it's something that kind of adds to the aura of the players. It gives them a piece of expression outside of their normal stuff. But so for particularly for cleats, I think the uniform rules have got to go.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the My Cause My Cleats initiative is hilarious because the NFL is like, this month our players are allowed to show their support for nonprofits, but don't they dare wear these cleats in October. Like it's dumb. It's kind of like how I don't feel like I notice it as much anymore. I don't know if they've stopped doing it as wholeheartedly, but when everybody used to wear pink for the breast cancer awareness
Yep.
games,
Yep.
but they couldn't like wear pink any other game. If it was like their mom's birthday in September, like opening week, it's like, no, you can't do that. Like that's against policy. I'm very much like they're playing a game. Like there's a lot of money on the line, obviously, for a lot of people, and it's a big business and they're professionals and blah 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 blah. But they're playing a children's game at their
They
core.
are.
And I think it's fine for them to be able to accessorize a little bit differently, especially when they're supporting causes. Like, I don't think people need to wear like obscene cleats or stuff where
No.
it's like, all right, buddy, like let's take it down a notch. But honestly, even if it's just a little like personalized, like if somebody wants to wear Batman cleats, like who
Yeah.
cares,
Let's have
man?
some fun.
It doesn't really impact the game. And that goes into like the no fun league persona that the
Mhm.
league gets labeled with is in part due to stuff like this. I think uniform rules should go in that regard. I definitely still think, obviously, you can't just be wearing like a different
Right.
jersey or anything like that,
Yeah.
anything crazy, but stuff like cleats is harmless. Like just do it. It's no different to me than like some NFL or NBA players wear shooting sleeves and others
Yeah. Yeah.
don't, or an undershirt or whatever. NFL players don't have that ability other than like which helmet they're wearing and if they're
Right.
wearing a guardian cap or not, which is not like a fun thing. So,
Right. And I did give the NBA some credit there, but they've also had some weird mishaps with their uniforms. I mean, during the bubble where they were allowing the social justice messages on the back, where they were allowed to put say her name, but Donovan Mitchell wasn't allowed to put Breonna Taylor's actual name. on the back of his
Right.
jersey, so he wasn't allowed to actually say her name. Like just stuff like
It's
that. I'm
because
like, what are we doing?
leagues want the brownie points of like, look, we're doing something, but they don't actually want to commit to doing the thing because that's too far in one direction. And so that's why like they had the end racism in the end zones and now they've kind of like moved on. And it's like, well, we addressed racism, like we're good.
We solved it. It's over. Racism ended.
Racism is over. That's what we used to like my friends and I when we would get into super long Madden franchises, we'd be like it'd be like 2033 and we'd be like, shit guys, we're still fighting racism. We haven't ended it.
It's still there. All right. And the last one. This has been one that I think hasn't really happened as often as people thought it would. Especially once it happened with Kobe. And I think 2K has kind of made it one of those things that's more at the forefront of our mind is the farewell tour for a legendary player. Now, here's my thing, right? When you are competing against people, that is your competitor. I don't mind giving people their flowers and doing these things, but a lot of times I feel like the farewell tour ends up being a little superficial and it just kind of becomes everyone's trying to outdo the other team or it doesn't really become what it's supposed to be. So I'm actually in favor of the farewell tour going. I got to see it happen a couple years ago with Albert Pujols when he came back to the Cardinals and with him and Yadi Molina retiring together, and a lot of teams were pulling out stops, and it got to a point. It got to a point where it was too much.
Yeah, I'm with get we were 5 for 5 in agreement here on these, I believe. Although I didn't care as much about the NBA Cup, but yeah, get farewell tours the hell out of here, man. Like, what are we doing? Like, especially in a sport like baseball or basketball, when
I don't
it's like
like you.
a long ass season. Like, you're for 162 games, we're just gonna go through this
Say
motion of
goodbye.
like, well, that's Albert Pujols. It's here in May, and who knows how many of these he has at bats he has left? Probably like 400, but. Like we're gonna treasure each one like it's the last because it's pretty close. Like that's stupid. Like play the games. If you want to be like you're playing baseball or basketball or football and it's like the very end of the season and you're like, hey, this is gonna be my last game. That's
Yeah,
fine. But this whole like I hate the whole like this is my last season in the NBA and then you go to every visiting team puts together
yep.
like this little tribute video. It's like you should beat that
That's
dude
the
into the
enemy.
ground.
That's
Show
the
me, show
enemy.
me highlights of him being dunked on. Be like, hey, you suck. Rest in hell. Like, get this. I love sportsmanship. Like, I don't think people need to be like duking it out. But what the hell is all this? Like, put murals up and
Right.
tribute videos. It's like you should sun that brother.
Yeah,
Like, what are we talking about?
I love it. I love it. I love the random things we get worked up about. Last week it was me and that stupid ludicrous song, and
Listen to
this week
that
with
several
Fair.
times. Thank you for that. It's a great song.
You are welcome. I'm glad I could bring you some joy. Before we get into our NFL Week 16 picks, I just wanted to shout out Lake Mary High School here in Central Florida, where I live. They had one of the most interesting
It's
state
bonkers.
championships I've ever seen. One, solid comeback victory. But two, if you have not seen it, I cannot recommend you go look this up enough. There are multiple angles of this all over the internet. Lake Mary High School, 7A state championship here in the state of Florida for high school football, highest class. They throw a Hail Mary that ends up about 10 yards short in the rain. Other team bats it backwards, goes into the receiver's hands. He's got four guys on him, wrapped up. They're about the refs are not blowing this play dead at all. They could
Yeah,
have
because
called
he's
forward.
still fighting. Like he is
He's still moving. Yeah.
honestly making a hell of an effort against what like I agree, like four dudes.
So all of a sudden, this guy comes into the frame and his own teammate rips the ball out of his arms. He just says, "Give me that." He runs over. He gets tackled into the end zone to win the game as time expires. I have never seen anything like that. It's not a lateral. He took the ball from him. Like
He
that.
said, "You're clearly not getting this done. Let me show you how it's done." It's
Give me
honestly, but
this.
it's really smart because it's not selfish. It's
No,
actually
no.
10,000 IQ of being like, "You're clearly not driving your legs into the end zone. I'm gonna at least take a shot at it." Because the
Yeah,
the downside is zero. Either the play is about to be
yeah,
whistled dead or it gets tackled short, and you know you're not going to score. You might as well try.
yeah.
Notre Dame commit, by the way, throwing that touchdown pass.
Incredible.
which he will get credit for, though it was not really a touchdown pass. Um, it was honestly a crazy play because I agree. We had a lateral or like a handoff touchdown in the NFL last week with the
Yeah.
Ravens. Kyle Van Noy intercepted the ball, knew he wasn't going to be able to run 85 yards, and then handed it to Gilman, I think, who then
Yeah.
raced for the pick six. Ed Reed used to do that, did that a couple times.
Oh yeah.
In all of those instances that I can think of, it's like a willing handoff. This
Right.
literally was the dude just coming in and be like, "I'll be taking this, sir."
It was
And he
literally
takes
a
it and just
mugging.
and everybody, and it's honestly brilliant also because nobody expects it, so the defense has no chance to respond to it
No,
in a way that
absolutely
will keep
not.
him from the end zone.
Yeah, just an incredible play. Shout out to Lake Mary there, and like you said, 10,000 IQ
It's
play
winning
by that
football.
kid. Just wanting it more than anything, just wanting that win.
We should see more
Absolutely incredible.
laterals. That's one of my like galaxy hot take or like galactic brain takes is you should be more willing to lateral the ball in situations.
Well, and to his credit, Travis Kelsey multiple times has had some pretty innovative laterals. I mean, had Tony not
Yes.
been completely inept at his job, that would have been one of the best laterals we've seen in game. Especially like intentional, not desperation. Like I am looking for someone to throw this to. So the first team that figures that out is going to change how football is played.
It's just
Legitimately.
got it kind of has dolphins written all over it a little bit,
It's because you got Ronnie Brown on the mind.
where it's like gimmicky bullshit that everybody will try and then it will kind of fade out over time. They're just the team, the first they had the Wildcat and then even like in the last couple years, like just putting like an insane amount of speed on the field that had its kind of has run its course. It screams like 2027 Miami Dolphins.
We're going to try to lateral this, do some quick slants and just toss it back, couple
Just like
crossing
working like
routes.
instead of an option route, it's like you catch the ball and it's an option lateral. You just instantly see the receivers start kind of running like parallel to them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm
I'm
available.
for it. I'm for it.
I'll teach them how to do it.
All right, let's get into some week 16 picks here. We will try to do the speed round. Like we said, we promise one of these times we will figure this out. So bear
Speed.
with us here as we try to go through this. Thursday night game, we got Rams and Seahawks. And I know we actually ironically talked about this as we were practicing before we started recording. And the funniest part about that, Ben, is that you gave the exact analysis I was going to, is that the Seahawks, I wasn't impressed with what I saw against a Philip Rivers led Colts team. Rams look like the class of the league, like you mentioned
I gave you
pre-show.
cue cards for this,
You literally
basically.
gave it to me. You fed it to me, silver spoon. I love it. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, I agree. I still think Los Angeles has had some like kind of weird performances, and they looked like they were heading towards another shaky finish against Detroit before they just turned it on and were like, "Oh yeah, we're better than you." Seattle, I believe really highly in, but that was kind of a weird game, and on a short turnaround, I don't know. I like the Rams a lot in this one, although Devontae's health definitely a question mark.
Huge question mark. So we got a couple Saturday games this week, interestingly enough. I know we got some staggered games coming up with Christmas. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Saturday is
We
for
talked about
college
this a couple
football.
weeks ago. Hey,
Yeah,
do not like the proliferation of the schedule, but whatever.
not a fan of this one. But Eagles Commanders is the first game that we have on that slate. I'm taking Eagles. I don't need to spend a lot of time on this. Eagles all the way.
It also feels like a war crime that Eagles Commanders is one of the
It
Saturday games.
does.
It's kind of like I saw this post on Instagram or Twitter the other day that was like the Falcons may play an overseas international game next year, and it's like that's right. We're threatening the rest of the world. Like if you don't act up, we will send the Falcons to play football in your country.
That's our
I,
new
I'm
tariff.
I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I don't know that this past game against the Raiders really means a lot, but the Commanders are also Omega bad, so I like Philadelphia in this one.
Next one, we got an interesting one is Packers Bears. I know they just played a couple weeks ago, so really quick back to back. It was a close one. Caleb Williams made a catastrophic mistake in that one to end it, just trying to do too much. I'm taking the Packers again. I think they are really starting to hit their stride. I know Micah Parsons out for the year is really going to be a difficult one, but I think their offense is absolutely cooking right now. I think Jordan Love is in the prime of his season, like he always is in December. I'm taking Packers.
This one was really hard for me because I feel like the losses are not anything to hand wave away. They lost Micah Parsons, Zach Tom, their left tackle, and
Yep.
also probably Christian Watson. I haven't seen the update on him yet, but I assume if he plays, he's at least hobbled. And I do think that that will catch up to Green Bay. I don't think they have the same ceiling that they did when this week started. but I couldn't quite go with the Bears at home. I'm going to take the Packers on the road.
All right, we got Saints and Jets for this next one. Saints, we've talked about them several times throughout this podcast that they just kind of compete. Shuck looked pretty good considering all things last week. I'm taking the Saints over the Jets in this one. I don't really particularly care who the Jets have at quarterback. I think the Saints are putting together a little something. They're 4-10, not great, but I think there's enough there that I can feel comfortable picking them.
Yeah, the Jets are starting a Winn-Dixie personal shopper at quarterback this week, so I'm pretty confidently taking New Orleans. But I do want to take half a second and point out that I was 100% right in my analysis of the New Orleans Carolina game this past week.
You called that one.
I was like, there's no reason the Panthers should lose this, and that's why they're going to lose it, and they did indeed lose a
Absolute
stupid
choke
game to the
job.
New Orleans Saints, who just own them. The NFC South is a travesty, but I've watched the Jets play football, and so Tyler Shuck, I'm ready to have a little bit of a discussion. I don't know if he's like a franchise quarterback, but he's played well enough that I think the Saints are going to be out of range of drafting one of the top quarterbacks. I don't think it's a great quarterback draft this year, and so I'd be willing to roll with him and fix the rest of the roster, and then address quarterback next year if you need to. But New
Yeah, see
Orleans
what
for
you
sure
got.
against the Jets.
Right. This next one is Bills and Browns. With this one, I do think that Myles Garrett gets the sack record this time, and I think it would be really interesting given that it's Josh Allen and he's probably the hardest quarterback to take down, maybe outside of Lamar Jackson. But with that being said, I'm taking the Bills with this one. Very impressed by their tenacity against the Patriots, hostile environment. Nothing was going right for them offensively, and they just refused to lose.
Yeah, the Bills defense still sucks, but kind of
Awful.
masks that they've been around the block. They've done this before. They're a tried and true team. I'm definitely taking Buffalo. Cleveland at times has shown some feist, and they're at home where they're much more capable. But I have a hard time seeing Buffalo with everything that's in front of them. Technically, the one seed attainable for them now
Yeah.
with the win against the Patriots. Not that it'll matter because Denver's got it locked up. But I'm going to go with Buffalo. I do agree with you, though. Myles Garrett probably gets the sack record. All he needs is like 1.5, one to tie
Yeah.
it, 1.5 to get it. So
Yeah.
I would love to see him get it against Josh Allen for the reasons you said.
Yeah, it'd be cool. With that, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. I know we talked about last week that the MVP race is really open right now, and with Josh Allen playing the way that he did last week in Drake May's home, do you think he is now the slight favorite?
I think I still lean towards Drake May for this reason. I do think Josh Allen has a better case statistically, but he won last year, and voters do not like the back-to-back MVP.
They do
And
not.
Drake May will have all the narrative in the world of the precocious youngster in year two. New England is way ahead of schedule. He had a lot of highlight plays. He's really good. I still like Drake's chances to win it, but I do think that it's much more of a discussion. If New England had held on in that game, I think we'd pretty much be able to call it. But Josh has been playing out of his gourd because he has to every week.
Yeah.
So I still give the edge slightly to Drake, but I think it's way more in play now than it was last week this time.
Okay. Next one is going to be Titans and Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes torn ACL. Hate to see it. Obviously, injuries
Yeah,
part of
devastating.
football, but absolutely terrible to see. I mean, he put everything he had into that with the supporting cast that he had. Devastating injury to see. But with that being said, Gardner Minshew does not instill any confidence in me at all whatsoever. I got to watch a season of him. He's a game manager, but he doesn't really have anything that can elevate his game at all whatsoever around him. There's no running game. Offensive line has been clearly pretty bad given the fact that Mahomes is hurt and receiving core is non-existent. I'm actually taking the Titans in an upset pick here because I think they got a little mojo going.
I also took the Titans.
Yes.
The Chiefs were bad with the best player in the world. I really struggle to see a path forward for them. And honestly, I don't know. Tennessee's been kind of spunky the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
They fought hard against the 49ers this past week. They played a great game in their win against the Browns a couple weeks ago. I
Yeah.
definitely don't think they've like turned a corner, but there's enough going for them. And honestly, I just have a hard time seeing the Chiefs like get up for this game. Like that,
Yeah.
I cannot imagine the vibes around that facility this
Oh,
week. And
catastrophic.
on the road against Tennessee, if they were at home, they could probably rally with the crowd. But I see them coming out pretty flat. I don't think Gardner has any of his best football in front of him. and I like the plucky underdog, so I'm going to take Tennessee.
All right, let's see if we can get these last few in before our 4 minutes Zoom
We'll be close.
call end here. We got Chargers and Cowboys for this one. I'm taking the Chargers. Cowboys out of the playoffs at this point. I think that's going to affect how they play, just knowing the kind of guys they have on their team. I'm taking the Los Angeles Chargers. I did not call them San Diego this time, and I want my flowers for that.
That's growth, man. I might take the next the remaining 4 minutes of this Zoom just hyping you up, King. The Chargers piss me off because there's no rhyme or reason to how they keep winning games, but they just keep winning games.
Keep winning.
I can't decide if they're like the fakest team in the league or they just have something in them. I feel very validated by our conversation a couple pods ago about whether Jim Harbaugh is an elite coach, and I stumped hard for him because I'm like, I don't know, man, he just wins games,
He just
and
wins.
I guess that's just what's going on here. So Dallas, I feel like will have more life than you're maybe expecting them to have, but I definitely think that the Chargers will get this one done.
Right. Next one's Vikings Giants. Nothing really huge in play here. I liked what I saw from McCarthy last week. I'm taking the Vikings.
I don't really understand what's going on in Minnesota. They're a very weird team, but the Giants seem kind of bad. So this is an all-time like I will not see a second of this game, and I will be
I will
happier
not
for it.
watch.
But I'm gonna roll with the Vikings. They have more talent, even if they've completely erased Justin Jefferson from the face of the earth, which is deeply upsetting as a team who just lost in the fantasy playoffs in part because he put up a big um, trash game. But I'm gonna go with the Vikings. The Giants are weird. They're on weird watch for me. I don't really know what to expect from them week in and week out.
Right. Next one, we got battle for the NFC South. Really, the biggest loser is going to be anyone who has to watch any of the NFC South games from here on out. But Bucks and Panthers for this one. I'm taking the Bucks. I don't know why. I don't know who. I don't really care at this point. Someone's got to win it, and I guess it should be them.
It's a waste of our time to try to put any rhyme or reason into these NFC South teams because these are not the same teams that show up week in and week out. Carolina is the classic example. Logic says that they'll bounce back and dominate the Bucks because they just got an inexplicable loss, but I don't know, man. Both teams are do not instill any confidence in me. But I am going to go with the Bucks. I'm going to regret it when Carolina wins the game, but they have not earned a pick from me.
No, absolutely not.
I don't want to talk about either team because they're
I
just so
don't.
frustrating.
Next one, we have Bengals and Dolphins. Dolphins eliminated from playoff contention last week. If Joe Burrow isn't having a Charles Dickens character kind of week again this week, I'm going to go ahead and take the Bengals for this one. Again, this is a game I'm not really going to watch either as well. I don't really see much of a reason to talk about it too much.
It's crazy that Joe Burrow plays for the Bengals because like Edgar Allan Poe, or like the Ravens, he's got that Edgar Allan Poe in him right now. It's honestly so depressing, and it's not going to get any better because it's the worst run organization in the league. But I actually did take Cincinnati. I don't know, man. This is another game where it's like I really don't know what to expect between these two teams. It's week 16. Somebody has to care, and the vibes in Miami seem pretty bad because they're talking about a quarterback change maybe. So that kind of gave me the default to Cincinnati. But again, true loser is anybody who watches this game. And we'll be right back after this break with the rest of our picks. We almost did it.
We're so close. Hello. All right, we are back. We're gonna make our final picks. I'm just being weird. Forgive me, folks.
I'm
It's
staying
almost
in. I'm
Christmas.
leaving that in.
Please do. So we're gonna make our final few picks here, and then we're gonna have some fun and call an episode from there. For this next one, we got Broncos and Jags. Man, every single time you're low on your boys, those Broncos keep winning.
I know. I was very wrong about this one. I'm gonna have to give back the points I earned calling the Saints win because I did not believe. Though to be fair, it was like the best game of Bo Nix's career
It
at
really
any
was.
level.
I
So I feel
disrespected the daylights out of him last week, but he played well.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, he's had some really weird games, like as discussed last week when you lowballed the hell out of his passing yardage total. But I don't blame you. And then he comes out slinging in a way that he's never slung before. I don't know, man. I predicted that the Broncos would win the West before the season. I feel very validated in that,
as you
although
should.
it's not a gimme because the Chargers loom and they have to keep winning, and this is a tough game, but it's in Denver. Jaguars are hot, but the Broncos are the hottest team in football. Give me the Broncos, baby.
Yeah, I'm taking the
Let's
Broncos as
ride.
well. I think I think the Broncos defense is just better than the Jags offense. I think it's as simple as that. I'm taking Denver.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
Trevor's been
right.
good, but the Denver defense though, I'm keeping an eye on it. It was not very good this past week. They
You
kept
know,
them out of the end zone, but between the 20s, it was is a lot. I want to see how that
they'll
bounces.
recoup. Bend don't break. The Colts defense, how they've always been.
Yeah, but this defense is supposed to be like the backbone of this team, and it. But although if
I
the
agree.
offense steps up, then it doesn't matter as much. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
Neither here nor there. Last one of the afternoon slate for Sunday, Cardinals and Falcons. Falcons are just going to be in forever timeout for me. I don't care if they're undefeated. I'm not picking them. I'm going with Arizona for this one. I like what I've seen from Brissett. I think they're due for a win at some point. And just for the Cardinals fans alone, I think they really, really need a win.
the Falcons are on no-fly zone for me as well. I did pick them, so instead of talking about them, I'm going to use this space to talk about something else entirely because they're still on the no-fly list. This past week, there was so many good matchups and like consequential games, and this feels like it feels appropriate that the word of the year was slop because this is a slop fest.
It is a
I mean,
slot fest. This
we
week
got Eagles,
sucks.
Commanders. We have Kansas City and Tennessee, Cincinnati, Miami, New Orleans and the Jets, Minnesota and the Giants, the Bucks and the Panthers, Atlanta and Arizona, and then there's like one or two of the remaining games are fine, but that's a lot of games that are kind of ugly. But I am going to take the
Just ugh.
Falcons. No interest in discussing them as a franchise, but Arizona's in a bad place.
The Sunday night game is one that I think
Wait,
is
you're
going to be.
missing an afternoon. You're missing two afternoon games. You
Oh,
clown.
am I? Which one?
Yeah, 425s. Detroit, Pittsburgh, and Houston, Vegas.
Bro, how did I miss those?
I
All
don't know,
right.
man.
Sorry, it was Detroit and who?
You gotta lay off the Jamba Juice. It's Detroit and Pittsburgh, and then Houston
Uh,
and Las Vegas.
it's the 7 Up Tropical.
You 7 up and two down.
Yes. I'll take Detroit for the one, and I will take Houston for the other.
He's like, I don't want to talk about it because I forgot they existed. Yeah,
Also, no.
I really don't want to pick another Pittsburgh game because I just am wrong every time. But I'm gonna go with the Lions, I guess. Sorry to Detroit. I'm winning. My wife is complaining in the background. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm literally single-handedly winning the Steelers, the AFC North, by picking against them every week. So you're welcome, honey. I'm gonna take the Lions, and any team that plays Vegas is an automatic W. So Houston, I don't feel like we need to spill a lot of ink there.
Do you think it's possible the Raiders score negative points this week?
I think it's possible that they have at least one grown man decide that it's time to sell insurance by the end of this game.
I love it.
I
All
just
right.
like that's a team that would make me question my love for the game.
Now we have the Sunday night game. I was a little premature there. We got the
These are the
Pats
best ones.
and the Ravens. We got the Pats and the Ravens. This one could be fun. Ravens are clinging to for dear life right now. I'm taking the Pats just simply because I don't think the Ravens have enough to keep up with them. I think the Patriots are going to be playing angry after last week's loss. I don't think they're going to let this one slip.
Yeah, this year has like 5 to 6 teams that I think are legit good and contenders. About 5 to 6 teams that I know are donkey doo doo, and the whole rest of the 20 teams are like dog, make up your mind. And the Ravens are one of those dog, make up your mind teams. But I know the Patriots are good, and I'm gonna take them. I wanted to believe in Baltimore because when they're playing at their best, they're more fun than almost anybody else. But they play New England. They still play Pittsburgh, but the team in between, one of their other games, I forget, is against another like really good team. I can't remember off the top of my head. Their schedule is brutal. I think it's Green Bay, actually. I
I
think
think
they
it is.
finish.
Yeah.
I believe they finish New England, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and
Oof.
so I hope Lamar has a relaxing time in Fiji. But
He's going to have a great time.
New England.
Which, speaking of early vacations, did you see the tweet from the Chargers that they put up a
Oh yes,
video
for the
about the
Chiefs. Like I hate the Chargers as a franchise and as a thought experiment, but I love their social media
their
content.
social media team
The social
for
team is
as
good.
long as Twitter has been alive has been the greatest, the
Literally
absolute
referenced
greatest.
the Chargers earned a place in the Sports Tweet Hall of Fame last week.
It really did. Monday night game, we got 49ers and Colts. I'm afraid I'm missing games now. I'm
No,
worried
that's
to
it. You're good.
introduce it.
We're,
All right.
we're, we're there.
49ers and Colts. I think this one is actually going to be a complete bloodbath. I think the novelty of the whole Philip Rivers thing, which he played about as well as I think you could ask him to play given the circumstances. I think the novelty of that is going to wear out for this one. I know the 49ers defense has been through about approximately 160 guys due to injury this year, but I don't think the 49ers, with how well coached they are going to mess around with this one. I think this is going to be a very, very ugly game, San Francisco all the way.
Yeah, I think honestly, I almost feel better about Philip Rivers against San Francisco because Seattle is such a swarming defense. So I feel like he'll probably statistically have a better day, but I just there's a ceiling to this. I mean, the man's been on the couch for 5 years. Congrats to Philip for getting another 5 years of NFL health insurance for him and his 10 children. But
Absolute 5D chess move, by the way.
yeah, honestly, I mean, he made like $245 million in his career, so he could have afforded the insurance. But that's got to be like better than Christmas for him and his wife. Just being like, you know what, just get us on the health plan. We're good. We'll get that Cobra insurance and we'll be fine. The out of pocket. When do you think they hit their out of pocket for the year? Assuming like relatively normal health for the children.
I'd probably say early February.
Like it's like January 27th, right? You just like line up all the kids'
You get
appointments.
you get one like common cold that goes through that family in January, it's
Like
over.
the bubonic plague in that household. I
It's
mean, it's just
just
it's like when you like watch a cartoon and it's showing like some horrible smell and you see the flowers wilt. You're just watching the children succumb to the influenza, and there's you're powerless to stop it. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Niners. Great story for Philip, but I don't really believe in him as a winning quarterback. But you know what? The Colts are imminently more watchable in the final 4 weeks of this doomed
so
season
much
than they
fun.
were a week ago. So
I had a great time, and that's all I can really ask for at this
he
time.
looked. You know, we always talk about how NFL players and athletes are not like us, but I felt like I could have been not processing wise, but physically, I felt like I could have been out there. He
I
looked.
saw something.
Did you see the one
Somebody,
where he like tackled himself and then got up and
yes,
tried to make the play and got sacked anyway? That was not like that was holy shit, I'm out of shape.
somebody compared him to General Grievous, that they just put his brain into something else, and he was playing with just his mind.
Yeah, so I heard it described as what if a human brain could play quarterback?
That's
And his
wild.
processing is still there. Like, I don't think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he processes at warp speed, and it's
Yeah,
insane.
the
This is
accuracy was sharp. That was the
honestly, I
saddest
believe
part.
more in his Hall of Fame candidacy now after a day where he threw for 120 passing yards than any other of his performances because he literally came off the couch at the age of 44 and got the ball out quick to the right receiver and gave his team a chance against a contender in the league. So
Absolute
kudos to
madness.
Philip Rivers. You're gonna get sawed in half one of these weeks, but God bless you, son.
All right, for this next one, our first fun segment, we actually had three fun segments this week. We're gonna just have a good time. This one I'm calling two cheers, two jeers. Two things that made you just kind of want to stand up and clap and be like, absolutely, I love seeing this. And two things that just make you want to boo whoever was involved with it. So we'll just go ahead and do all of it at once. And we'll go one at a time. I'll go ahead and start. My two cheers. The first one, ironically, this is timely, is going to be Philip Rivers' touchdown celebration. He celebrated like a 44-year-old man who
Oh wait,
just
I
threw
haven't
an
seen this. Keep
absolute
talking. I'll look it up.
dot. He threw an absolute dot at the Thanksgiving bowl with all of his nieces and nephews there. But the little fist pump and just getting absolutely hyped about it, I absolutely 100% love seeing it. My
Sorry, I
second,
just watched it.
it's just excellent. It's excellent. It made me smile at a time that football has not made me smile, at least professional, in a few weeks.
I'm gonna share. Sorry, this is so like horrible content. But Jesse, I'm gonna send this tweet to you. Look at it afterwards. It's so good.
I'm worried now. My second thing that I want to cheer is Fernando Mendoza, but specifically the portion of his speech where he talked directly to his grandparents
So cool.
and spoke in Spanish to his parents who were Cuban immigrants. One of the coolest things, and it was just seamless, just such a beautiful moment where he got to honor where he came from and the sacrifices that they made. I thought it was one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time in sports. All
Yeah.
right, so for my two jeers, we're gonna stick with the Heisman. And jeer number one is going to Diego Pavia and his reaction to losing the Heisman.
Punk.
I I was not a huge fan of his going into it. Uh, but you can't do that. You
Yeah.
cannot act like that and then give a Chat GPT apology the next day.
Yeah.
It was very disappointing. And if I'm an NFL team looking for someone to lead my locker room, that just gives me the ick. I mean, it's enough for me to pull somebody off my draft board. Not saying he can't grow, not saying he can't change, but to me, it was just no. I was not feeling it for that one.
Yeah,
My second,
I want to jump in here really quick.
yeah, go ahead.
Has anyone ever sped run going from like the plucky, gritty underdog to like the Johnny Manziel character, like as fast as Diego Pavia? Now, listen, and I say this is coming from somebody who, look, I'm all for bashing IU, like as much
Yeah,
as the next guy, but it's crazy to just react like that. I agree. Like you're trying to present yourself as a professional and not like some like goon, and just I don't know. I think that he strikes me as somebody who probably lost himself some cachet with the league.
I think so.
Just really a disappointing response. You played your ass off. You're a second place Heisman finisher. I know you wanted to win, but uh, just going out like that it sucks. It's really sad to see.
Yeah, it's
Also, I want to
disappointing.
quickly shout out via my wife, who pointed out that in Fernando's Heisman speech, that he shouted out his mom and called her mommy, and
Oh, absolutely.
yes, like a very cultural, like deeply personal way to talk to her in front of the national audience, and to focus on what was important to him. I thought was we thought was really cool.
Yeah, and one more thing on the Mendoza family, just seeing the raw emotion that every man in that family showed, where you can tell he grew up in a family where it's okay to cry. It's
Hmm.
okay to show emotion. It's okay to be who you are, and I thought it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful to watch. And obviously I'm going to have my bias as an IU fan and as a Mendoza fan, but it was just so nice to see somebody, the good guy, win. It was
Yeah.
so nice to see the good guy win in a society where that is just increasingly not happening. It gave me something almost Grinch-esque where my heart finally got to grow a couple sizes that day, and we just got to watch a good person get something good. That was the
Yeah.
really nice part about it
Yeah, the
for me.
best guy and the best player came in third, but he wasn't bad.
Jeremiah's that man. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Pour one out for
For
the Heisman speech we'll never get.
my last year, I'm going with Alex Caruso and his reaction to
It's a
the
good one.
Wembanyama fouling situation. What are you doing, man? That whole team is built on being able to play a referee game, and they're not shy about it either. That's
Hmm.
fine. If the rule book says that, that's how you want to play, go ahead. Right? I'm not going to be that kind of person that's going to be complaining about it too much. You don't like how SGA plays, defend him differently, right?
You literally
Adjust,
can't, but
yeah.
that's a different
But yeah,
podcast.
right. But his reaction to that, like, are you kidding me, man? This is the first time since you've been in Oklahoma City that a game has come down to you guys fouling like that. I do not want to hear it. I am pro physical defense. I am pro a lot of these things that he is complaining about, but I just find it ironic coming from that source where he has been a hard-nosed defender his whole career. His hands were all over him
Hmm.
throughout that game. And for him to be throwing a fit in the tunnel and then tweeting at people after the game, like, come on, man.
It was kind of funny.
It was, but like, you got to
Yeah,
be better than that.
Caruso and Hartenstein both are just such punks, and
Yeah.
they kind of have that like punk vibe to them. But then, especially when they whine, the Thunder are like historically good, but it's just like, and I should be able to enjoy them, like the Warriors in their early
Yeah.
years, or like even the Chiefs. But they're just so whiny that it's so hard to get there.
Yeah. It really is. All right. Let's hear your two and two.
Well, I like yours because mine are a bit more off the wall.
Let's
Um,
do it. We always go different directions, and that's why people watch us.
it's why we have a great product. Okay, so my two cheers. Um, my first cheer is the Pop Tart Bowl. I don't know if you've
Of
seen any
course.
of the
Oh,
pre-game
yes.
festivities for that. I just really love that in this era where bowl games just really don't matter at all, that they have tapped into that. Like, let's just get as wacky as possible.
Yep.
We're gonna have six mascots this year, and like one of them is shredded for absolutely no reason. And like we're just gonna do all this wacky shit, and like even to the point where the players in the game care, which is rare for like a bowl game.
It
Even
is.
back when they meant more, it's like they don't care. Like they're there to get like the gift bag and play one more game and whatever. But cheers to the Pop Tart Bowl for understanding that in this era where if you're not a playoff game, you just don't really matter. The way to make yourself matter is just like let's get quirky, let's get wacky.
Just
That's
have
why
fun.
you have these like weird, like the LA Bowl all of a sudden isn't going to exist anymore, and it's just like there's no uniqueness to it. It's just another game in an empty stadium between two teams that want to be elsewhere. And so I respect. Cheers to the Pop Tart Bowl for just continuing to find new, innovative ways to be relevant and to draw
Yeah.
viewers and to survive.
And I
Um,
love that. And it makes me so proud to live in Orlando because the city has embraced that bowl so much so that I legitimately forgot that we had the Citrus Bowl here still.
mhm.
Like in the same stadium, 100% the exact same place, same place that we saw the weekend at, right? But the city has leaned into the Pop Tart Bowl so much, and people around here look forward to it. Just ton of fun, a ton of fun. Cannot agree more.
My second cheer goes to the Madison Capitals.
Okay.
They're a minor league hockey of some affiliation. I'm not really sure, but they wore um, jerseys that were inspired by the "Birds Aren't Real" movement, and so they had these like little birds on the jerseys with the drone heads. Um, and that goes into kind of there is a bigger picture. I personally think that all minor league or semi-pro teams really need to lean into, kind of quirky, wacky. I think that's
Yep.
fun for the fans. It gets you attention. Nobody's going to the Madison Capitals games because they like are diehard Madison Capital fans. So I think
Right.
it's really fun, but also I'm just pro like spreading the truth about birds. So I really enjoyed that. Got a huge cheer from me. Very rare you'll see me share hockey related content on my social media, but I shared that to my story immediately. Um,
Phenomenal.
Two jeers. First one, guys that transfer infinitely. I'm
At
generally,
Dylan Raiola.
Dylan Raiola is not who I had in mind, but Dylan Raiola is one of the aggressors. I specifically had two guys named, and I'm pulling them up as I explain this jeer because I want to quote them accurately. Um, I am pro transfer portal. I think that it is players should have the opportunity to get transfer for better opportunities, or if there's like a coaching change or a situation change, and you just decide, you know what, this isn't working for me.
Or
You
just
should
want to
have
look
the
for
freedom.
playing time.
You should
Yeah.
have the freedom to do that. Some of these gentlemen just need to polish off their resume and update that LinkedIn.
Yes.
TJ Finley entered the transfer portal. He spent this past year at Georgia State. He has played for LSU, Auburn, Texas State, Western Kentucky, Georgia State, and now theoretically another school
I
that
love how
may
he's
take him.
continued to go down in prestige every time he transfers.
Yes, and like this year, he threw appeared in 7 games. They were 1-6 in those games, which obviously is not all his fault. But he threw for 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 7 picks. So I'm not really sure where he's transferring to. I guess Western Carolina is an option, but
He's gonna be
dude, just
playing for
get
the
a job.
local Lions club. Yeah.
Just
So
get a job. The other guy is Max Johnson, who has not played for nearly as many teams, but he started at LSU, then he transferred to A&M, then he transferred to North Carolina this past year. He has made 24 starts in his career, 13-11 record, like fine stats. Like he had one good year at LSU where he started 12 games and threw for almost 3,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 6 picks, and he's basically like not played since then. Like in his 2 years for North Carolina, he's played in 5 games. He's thrown a little over 60 pass or a little over 100 passes. Sorry, I was looking at completions. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, whatever. Dude, just get a job. Like it's move on. Like the transfer
okay.
portal is not for you to just enter every single season and just go like just hop around. Like it's meant for you to have different opportunities. But your opportunity is maybe Goldman Sachs is hiring. I don't know what your degree's in.
That'd be a solid job.
Yeah, just like enter the workforce, man. Like go sell. Somebody's got to sell used Hondas. Why don't you do that instead of starting for Appalachian State? I don't know, man. No disrespect to Appalachian State.
It was really tough for me getting rid of my NCAA eligibility by entering the 2017 NBA draft. If you remember me
I
filling out the
do.
paperwork for that.
Seared into my brain. It was tough for
Uh,
you, but
it was tough. It
you
was
know
tough.
what? But then it didn't work out, and you got a job like the rest of the
Yeah,
world.
I went and got a job, but I just could not believe that no one was looking for a 5'8" point guard that hadn't played since middle school and has a bad meniscus in his right knee. But
If
yeah,
somebody, if some final thought on this, if somebody, if TJ Finley commits to like, I don't know, I was gonna say Georgia State, but he's already been there. Um, let's say he commits to like Sacramento State or whatever, and if a single person offers him an NIL deal, I want that person sanctioned from the sport.
no
Just
longer
like
allowed.
he's like, just you're done. Go support badminton or something, but you're done with college football. That's my that was just my first year. Sorry,
Yeah.
that one went on for a minute. My second year is for FIFA. I really don't have to give a reason. You could pretty
No,
much
you
just
can just leave it right there.
pick a reason and cheer FIFA. But I don't know if our listeners have been following the World Cup stuff at all. But FIFA basically promised there were going to be all these affordable tickets. That did not happen in the slightest. And then finally, under intense pressure, they advertised that there were going to be all these like $60 tickets available to the World Cup. Never once existed. Tickets like the cheapest tickets are like 500 plus. And so FIFA finally was like, here, damn, and announced that they're going to be releasing uh, some special tickets. It's like 1,000 tickets for every game, or hundreds, I'm sorry. The supporter entry tier, $60 tickets. Um, God only knows how many human beings are going to get those tickets and not scalpers or bots or whatever. But like tickets were in like the 4,000s.
Insane.
The cheapest games that did not involve the hosts were ranged from 120 to 265. Um, but the English Football Association had done this report that if a fan bought a ticket for every game through to the final for a team, it cost over $7,000.
Insane.
So, and like a whole part of the bid from the U.S. and Canada and Mexico was we're going to have affordable tickets, um, and that was not
We
true.
can't
And
even
so
figure out
FIFA,
affordable concert tickets in our own country, let alone yeah,
yeah,
that was
FIFA
never going
sucks.
to happen.
Yeah,
FIFA sucks. Ticketmaster sucks. They all suck.
yeah. Those are my two cheers, two cheers. That was fun. I had some
Yeah.
thoughts, I guess.
All right. So this next one, it's going to be another new one that we have. It's called "I Wish Twitter Was Around When," and this is where we're going to go through some old events, things that happened during sports before Twitter was invented, and really going through what we think that discourse would have looked like. We're going to pick about three each. I'll go ahead and let you start on this one. What is the first event that you think you would have loved to have had?
Well, if you know me at all, you probably could anticipate that there was one specific sporting event that immediately popped in my head. Jesse, I'm going to give you a guess. What do you think
Is
was the
it
first?
the Malice at the Palace?
No, it was not the Malice at the Palace.
Okay,
It's not
that's
on my
my first
list.
one.
Um, this is not the first time that I've referenced this particular event. I need Twitter for Randy Johnson killing the bird.
Yes, that was on my list too.
It's my
Yes.
all-time favorite sports moment. I pitched a docu-series, I think was the last time I brought it up on this
Yep.
pod. God, I could only imagine the content from Randy Johnson killing that bird and all the
Your
like the
docu-series would be showing multiple angles like it's the JFK assassination.
like I'm imagining like tweets, you know, like the format that's going around right now where it's like the two guys like putting the hand on the other
Yes,
guy's
yes, yes.
shoulder, and it's like the pigeon. I could probably make it across home plate before the ball gets there, and then it's like Randy Johnson's fastball colon, and it's just the guy putting his hand. Like, just the content would have been insane. It would have been the greatest day of my life.
All right, so my first one, I already gave it away, is the Malice at the Palace.
Also,
The
the least choice.
craziest night, the absolute craziest night in NBA history, if not potentially sports history. Just a simple fact. I mean, we got guys fighting in the crowd. We got chairs being thrown. We got Jermaine O'Neal slide punching dudes. And always have been forever thankful that he actually slipped before he punched that dude because that guy might have died
Could have killed
if
him.
he
Yeah.
had landed that punch. But for that, I just think sitting there and scrolling through everyone's reactions and all the videos that went with it, and then the memes that would come from that as well, would have just been one of the greatest nights I think in sports history.
We would be seeing, I guess technically we wouldn't because the Vine didn't exist until after the Malice at the Palace. But you know the Vine of the girl throwing like the folding chair at the other
Yeah,
girl in the yard? It would have been
that's
like
it.
run our test, colon, just like chucking the Oh man,
All right.
that's a good one.
What's your next one?
My next one, I'm sorry, this is crazy. I would have enjoyed Twitter for the Tanya Harding Nancy Kerrigan moment.
Yes.
When Nancy Kerrigan was stabbed before the figure skating contest by Tanya Harding's husband, right? Wasn't it? Or at least somebody that her husband had hired.
Yeah,
That would
clubbed
have
her
been
knees
just
or something.
absolutely insane. And obviously I don't mean to make light of a tragedy for Nancy,
No, no, of course not. Of course
but
not.
I cannot even imagine the chaos that would have ensued on Twitter during such a high profile stabbing
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
and an event. Like that would have been insane.
All right. My second one, I'm taking this one way back. Stanford versus Cal, the play. Can you imagine everything that came through the memes of just that one dude in the band getting absolutely run over at the end of that? Just I can't imagine the discourse of there'd be Stanford people complaining on there and being like, the band was on the field, the play should have been called dead right there. Like, it would have been some of the worst takes in football history coming from that, but just the pandemonium of that play alone would have absolutely fed families for days on that app.
I agree. An all-time classic moment in sports that would have been enhanced by human beings with internet access. All right. I have two more, and then an honorable mention, but I'll choose just one and I'll make two honorable mentions because you said three.
Yeah.
Um, dude, I need Twitter for Vince Carter's dunk in the Olympics.
Oh gosh,
Just an
yes.
all-time great moment where he's
Filthy.
absolutely dominating a 7 foot. He was 7'8", right, or
I think
however
so.
tall he was
Something crazy.
on France, and just like dunking over him. Truly, just every time I see it, it's just chills in my body. Even more so, I thought about 8.9 seconds. I don't know if that's on your list or not,
It's
but
not, but good one.
yeah, Vince Carter's dunk immediately came to mind. And then, real quick before you do your final one, my honorable mentions were the 100 point game by Wilt Chamberlain, because then we'd know
Oh
it
yeah.
was real. Um, and then also, this was kind of out of left field, but I wrote Trojan War slash First Olympics. Um, I like, and then I was like, that's not really sports, the Trojan War. So
I
I
don't.
went
I'll
with the
take it.
First Olympics. But can you imagine the discourse?
Absolutely insane. So I got some honorable mentions as well, but I think the one that I'm going to have be my official one is going to be the Mike Tyson Holyfield fight where Tyson bites off Evander Holyfield's
Yeah, that's a
earlobe.
good one.
Absolute madness of what could have happened there on the internet. Some other ones that I had were Tony Romo fumbling the extra point attempts in the playoffs. That would have been a tough one, but again, memes would have been absolute top
Through the
shelf.
roof.
Also had the Jordan flu game on there. I
Yeah,
think that would have been a fun one. And then my last honorable mention was the Zinedine Zidane's headbutt in
yeah, that's
the
a good one.
the FIFA World Cup final. Would have been again another memeable moment. I can
Generational.
just yeah, I can imagine just like a Zinedine's bald head saying something to the effect of like
You
this
gotta
week
call him out like that. Damn.
and
He said
Materazzi
this
ball.
homie is bald.
It's cue ball over here.
The ever
Bald, bald.
the 7 ball in the corner thinking it's safe. The ever intrepid cue ball lurking behind the corner pocket.
Uh,
Oh man, those are good, Jesse. That was a good idea. I like that.
I
That was
enjoyed that.
fun.
All right, well, let's get into this last one here. We have just a few minutes left on this.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
get
we can get
interrupted
through
in the
mine.
middle of it, I'm sure,
Yeah,
but
we can get through mine at least to begin with. But
wow,
you want to explain
so
this one?
magnanimous. No, we gotta go. We're not doing all at once. We're gonna do a word by
Okay,
word.
okay, okay.
Okay, so and I don't know if you all know this, but it is currently movie award season, so we're starting to see a lot of nominees and shortlists for the Oscars and the Golden Globes and all that. So in honor of that, Jesse and I are going to name winners, and these do not have to be recent movies. I didn't specify that to Jesse, but I'm sure he
Thank
understood
God.
that. Um, but we're gonna name winners for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, and then Best Supporting Actor and Supporting Actress. But the caveat is that these winners have to come from movies who had a Rotten Tomato score of 40% or below. So the greatest movie of all time, Sinners, will not be represented here, but we're gonna have some good ones. I struggled a lot with one of these categories, but I had pretty strong answers for some of them. So we're just gonna jump right in. Jesse, who is your Best Picture winner for a movie under 40% on Rotten Tomatoes?
So, in order to really set the tone for this one, I need you to go back to the 1990s, right? And who was the
I
biggest
never left.
and who was the absolute biggest star at the time? Who was taking over pop culture, both in the sports world and in the movie world?
Val
I am, of
Kilmer.
course, going with I am, of course, going with the GOAT himself, Michael Jordan, and Space Jam, which holds a
Great one.
36% on Rotten Tomatoes currently. So
Good
Space
one.
Jam is going to be my pick for Best Picture.
That's a really good movie. Great choice. My best picture, a quick honorable mention. I wanted to pull the trigger but couldn't do it. The Master of Disguise, which is a truly awful movie with a 1% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's
It's
a foundational movie in
it
my
is.
childhood.
It
Um,
is truly one of the movies of all time.
it is truly, but I couldn't quite name it because I thought of a movie that's a little bit better,
Yeah.
improbable as that is. This is like peak, like our generation. Like I think we were in middle school or late elementary school when this movie came out. Of course, I'm talking about the classic feature film Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed, which
Yes,
has a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. Honestly, was just such a peak movie for us because we grew up watching Scooby-Doo on the
absolutely.
TV, and then all of his
Perfectly
like top
cast.
villains in live action, even though his movie does not really hold up. The first one was weird as hell.
Mhm.
Not a good movie. Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, much better. That's my best picture.
Okay. So next one we have is Best Actor. Is that the
Yes.
correct category? All right. Well, this is going to be a little awkward considering your last statement. My best actor is Matthew Lillard as Shaggy Rogers in the first Scooby-Doo
No,
movie,
I
which
don't.
is
He's the only redeeming
20%.
part of it. I also thought about this because he's also the only redeeming part of those
Uh,
that movie.
literally Shaggy. Literally was so good at it that he took over the cartoon voice of Shaggy at some point, which is impressive. Could not embody a better person with this one. I was very close to going a lot of Scooby-Doo movies because
Because they're
just
not well reviewed, but they're good.
they're a lot of fun and the cast is way too good for what it was supposed to be.
So, there's just so many choices, and it's hard to narrow these categories down. So some of my movies have some things in common, but the first actor that I thought of for this, actually, I think put together like an actually like really good, like literally really good acting performance. I was really impressed with his body language, the way he embodied this character, the way that I believed everything he was selling to me, even though the movie was bad and it was kind of off-putting. I was like, this dude like worked his ass off. And of course, I'm talking about none other than Tom Hardy in the first Venom movie. 31% on
Yeah,
Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah,
The scene where he's having his like meltdown in the restaurant and like sticks his whole head into the fish tank alone, that's real acting. Like
it is.
it's a CGI monster fest, but he actually like
He
I
was acting.
genuinely believed that man was unwell
Yes.
in that movie, and he did such a good job. I wanted to give him some flowers for that.
Okay. And next category is Best Actress for this one. So I'm taking us way back, early 2000s on this one, and I'm going with Mandy Moore as Jamie Sullivan in A Walk to Remember. That movie has a 27% on Rotten
Wow.
Tomatoes, and which is kind of surprising. I didn't think it was that bad of a movie by any means. So caveat here, when I was a kid, I had a crush on Mandy Moore growing up when I was
I mean,
little,
yeah, I've seen her.
and it was very exciting to me to watch a movie with her in it. My sisters had me watch this movie, didn't tell me she was going to die,
It's
did not tell
traumatizing.
me. If that's a spoiler to you, you had over 20 years to watch the movie. It's not my fault at this point. But did not tell me she was going to die. Absolutely devastated little me because I did not have object permanence at that point to realize that she was acting. I thought Mandy Moore actually died. in real life at that point, and it was a very rough week for me trying to figure out all those emotions.
I want the person I wanted to put for this was also a foundational movie for me as a child. My first celebrity crush was Anna Sophia Robb from Bridge to Terabithia. That movie
Oh
had
yeah.
an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was shook.
Gosh.
I did not
Oh
expect
my
it to be that
gosh.
high. I had a hard time with this one, honestly. We're almost out of time here, so I might get cut off. But I went with Amy Adams from Batman vs Superman, which is a terrible movie
Excellent.
with a
Excellent pick though.
28% on Rotten Tomatoes. But Amy Adams actually killed it as Lois Lane. About the only redeeming thing from that movie. I thought she was
Yes.
really good. Gave a really good performance in a hollow movie. We're gonna take a quick break and then we'll be back with the rest of our awards. And we're back. We just have a couple more nominations here, and then I think we're closing out the episode. So, Jesse, I'm going to kick it over to you, actually. Why don't you hit me with your best supporting actor?
Just someone who really embodies the spirit of the character. And for me, the supporting actor sometimes is more important than the lead actor. I think it's somebody who can steal the show. I'm thinking of somebody like Andrew Garfield in The Social Network and also No Way Home. Really, anything Andrew Garfield's in, he's not the lead. But for this, I had to go with somebody who I think is one of the more underrated actors that we've had recently. And of course, I'm talking about Larry the Cable Guy as Mater in Cars 2.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think
Wait,
uh,
Cars 2?
Cars 2, 38% on Rotten
Okay, I
Tomatoes
was going
has
to
it.
say, there's no way Cars has.
Yeah, 38% on Cars 2. Larry the Cable Guy. That was not a racing movie. That was a spy slash espionage movie that had a sticker on it of race cars, and truly one of the Pixar films of all time.
I have not seen Cars 2. I haven't seen any of the Cars except for the first Cars. Maybe someday I'll watch them. Um, okay, that's a great choice. Mater is a foundational character. I decided to go. This is where I said there's maybe unfortunately slightly a theme of bad superhero movies, but I chose Chris Evans as Johnny Storm in Fantastic
Excellent
Four.
pick.
28% on the Rotten Tomatoes tomatometer. Um,
Thermometer.
Honestly, Chris Evans killed it as Johnny Storm. He
He
was
did. He did.
the brash playboy, like kind of a little immature, but when came time to nut up, he nutted up.
He did.
I thought he was really good as Johnny Storm. Those movies were kind of wonky. I felt like they were maybe not as bad as people thought they were, but they were
No.
also not great. They just were made, I think, a little bit too early, and the Fantastic Four are honestly very weird.
Yes.
They seem like, especially all the marketing for the latest Fantastic Four kind of made it seem like they were more normal than they really are, but they're kind of a weird property.
Yeah.
And I thought he was a great casting for that choice. Which
I
now,
loved him.
after his Steve Rogers turn, it's just hilarious to watch him play that character. But
Completely different character.
yeah, but I went with Chris Evans. All right, Jesse, final one. Your best supporting actress in a movie with an under 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
For this one was pretty hard for me to get to this one, but I was actually kind of surprised to see that this movie was under 40% because it was actually a movie I enjoyed quite a bit. But I chose Diane Kruger playing Abigail Chase in the second National Treasure movie, The Book of
Oh,
Secrets.
National. I
Excellent
didn't
film.
see. That's why we got to do this because I didn't even think about like
Yeah,
National Treasure. But damn,
I absolutely loved her character, especially in the second one. I think they did a really good job giving her some depth, and she wasn't just like some damsel. It was like was there in it, getting her hands dirty with stuff. I always really enjoyed her character and reminded me a lot of the love interest in the Uncharted games as time moved forward. And I think a lot of those were modeled after her character in that.
well now I want Justin Bartha as my
Yeah.
supporting actor. What was the first National Treasure? I'm curious
I
because
think it
I
was just National Treasure. Oh yeah. What was
National
the
Treasure 2. Yeah, you're correct. Was under 40%. What was the first one? Was it higher? 47%. That's disrespectful as hell. That's a great choice. Great movies. I recency bias played an enormous role for me in my best supporting actress, and honestly, kind of sparked this thought a little bit for me. We just watched the new movie Oh What Fun. It's
Mhm.
a holiday movie. It's unsettling because it's kind of horrible. I believe it has a Rotten Tomatoes of 32, which feels generous. But actually, Felicity Jones was
Okay.
turned in a really good performance
Ooh,
in kind of a movie that had a lot of big names and just like fell really flat. But I thought she was really good. I
yeah.
thought she played her character. My main character is Michelle Pfeiffer, and she's like this Christmas obsessed mom. All her kids come home, and she's kind of like a little bit of a helicopter mom, and she treats her kids kind of weird because she hasn't been able to really let go. And her daughter Felicity Jones is the oldest child, who is also a mother and kind of has a lot of like there's a lot of friction there, but she also is very much like her mom. And a big part of the movie is kind of her, you know, kind of coming to some realizations and them kind of mending their relationship. And I thought she
Yeah.
was actually really good in the role.
Cool. I'll have to
Um,
watch it.
Weird movie. Don't know that I would say I super enjoyed it, but it's an interesting watch. There are some funny moments for sure. But I thought she was really good in it. So she was my best supporting
Awesome.
actress.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Spillin It Pod. We do have a special Christmas episode, very similar to what we did for Thanksgiving, with just a couple fun little segments. But we will catch you guys on the other side of New Year's. See you guys in 2026. Thank you as always for listening and for watching us ramble about these little random things that we like to talk about. But we appreciate y'all. Peace out. We'll catch you on the next one.
We will catch you on the next one.